Question for you. When was the last time you used a map, a proper map, paper map, not one that's on your phone or a sat-nav one? Well, we've been looking at this.
It's funny, isn't it? Oddly enough, that map behind us there, that stretch of the Thames is a map people kind of have seen a lot of, because you see it, EastEnders, you know, they use that. That other maps, so the one we're seeing on the left there, I find them fascinating, but, you know, literally people don't use them in the same way. They're, you know, in a practical sense, using other things.
And according to the Ordinance survey, 54% of adults don't ever, or very rarely, take a map with them when going out on a walk. And despite the popularity of walking, around a third of us say that we're still nervous of using a map to guide us. And then under 20% of us say that they are confident at map reading. Now, we're going to talk about this. We're joined by comedian and YouTuber Jay Foreman. Hi, Jay.
Hello.
And Nick Giles from the Ordinance Survey Leisure. Hi.
Good morning.
OK, Nick, Jay, I want to start with you because you love maps.
I do, but then that's a very geeky interest of mine. I've been reading maps as if they were entertaining books since I was a kid. But it's important for people that don't geekily love maps the way I do to learn how to use them and to enjoy them as well, because there are so many benefits to having a good old-fashioned, proper, foldy paper map instead of just using a sat-nav that tells you left and right.
The thing with paper maps is they're cumbersome. And you do have to take time to learn to read them. I'm not talking about an A to Z, which many people probably don't even know what an A to Z is, but Ordinance survey maps, and you can, you know, jump in on this as well, obviously, Nick, but they can be tricky to learn to read well.
It depends on the purpose you're using them for. So it's actually not all that tricky to learn 2 or 3 symbols here and there. And there's a lot of advantages to taking a paper map with you, the main one being that you can go out and enjoy the countryside and go for a walk without having to rely on making sure you've got enough battery on your phone or making sure that you've got signal on your phone.
Well, that's a very good practical point, Nick, isn't it?
It is actually very easy to read a map. It will take you about 10 minutes to learn the real basics of how to read one. The symbols kind of bring the world to life, but equally you need to have the balance around. Sometimes a mobile phone is good. For towns and cities, it's great, even for exploring the countryside, but to be able to do that alongside a paper map and be able to read the cartography is really important.
What about cost? Because we're so used now to the idea of geography being free. I mean, because you can just go on the internet and you can look things up. The bottom line is you do have to buy a map. A paper map, you've got to buy it. It's only one place. Maybe you're only going there once. That's just a reality, isn't it?
It's true, but actually there's a huge amount of adventures that you can have from just one map. You can literally have 1,000 adventures from a single map, and you can find different places to go and different experiences out. This is 100 days out with the family, and actually that's a fairly good point.
I'm intrigued. So Nick, like I don't know if can we see that? So we've got Keswick there, haven't we? So when you look at a map like that, are you straight away? Have you got a kind of picture, like in your head? Is everything coming clear, and you know?
Yeah, of course. If you look at a map like that, the first thing I think is, right, what entertaining things are there to do in Keswick? And then if you look around, if you see the viewpoint symbol, the one that has like a sort of flower points coming out, my immediate thought is, I better go there. What does that view look like?
Find that place.
Yeah.
I like getting lost.
Exactly.
So it sounds really silly. Sometimes you go for a walk, and there's actually a joy in getting lost. So why do I want a map?
To find your way back. So it's great to get lost, and it's great to go out and just go out and explore, and then try and work out where you are on a map, which you can use from the symbols. So, you know, these maps have been created for navigation. So you have a different symbol for a church with a spire as opposed to a church with a tower. So you can really position yourself on that map and then find your way back to where you needed to get to.
Do you feel like, I mean, I don't know, you know, sales are one thing. Do you know who you're selling to these days? And who are buying maps still?
It does vary. So for our mobile app, OS Maps, we sell a lot to younger generations because they're used to technology, are used to using technology. But they do that alongside the paper map. The paper map generally is an older age profile because you've grown up with that and it's less formidable. When you open one up, it can look like hieroglyphics.
And have you got, Jay, if someone were going, do you know what, I listen to Jay, he sounds like an interesting guy, you know, where would be a good map, even if you're not going there, a map to go, that map is fascinating, because the world is full of extraordinary places, and presumably maps sometimes are off the scale. I mean,
Well, I think the rule for maps is the same as the rule is for satellite view, and most people start with their own place where they live. Because even if you've lived there for many, many years, if you look at a map of it that you've not seen before, you might see things about your own area that you didn't know, that might make you want to go exploring or to see where you live in a new context. And of course, from there, that's where you start to go further and see where else can this map take me.
yeah, I know what you mean. So you see a little alley that you didn't know, is there a street that you didn't know was there, or a connection that you can get through a pathway or something? It's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm on board this.
Well, you can't be anti-map. I don't think you can be anti-map. But I think you can be someone who's not using them, as the survey has found. Top thing, I didn't know that is the flower, the green flower on it, on the map, is a viewpoint. Top other symbol to look out for if you just want to start.
Best symbol other than viewpoint?
Personally, I like the slipways because I like a bit of paddleboarding, and it shows you where you can get into the water. So.
Very popular sport at the moment, indeed. It's been great. Thank you so much for talking to us. Jay Foreman, comedian and YouTuber, thank you. And Nick Giles, Managing Director of Ordnance Survey Leisure, thank you.
Thank you.
Man over there is a man who knows about maps.
He knows maps.
You know your maps.
You know
don't
your
Simon?
maps.
I do. My favourite little symbol is PH. Public house. Pub.
And that's on Ordnance Survey Maps as well?
Yeah.
Are you good at reading Ordnance Survey Maps?
I'm pretty good. I was in the armed forces, wasn't I? So I was a reserve officer in the Royal Air Force. So I know a map or two.
A man who knows it. He's a safe man to have around, a good man to have around. Thanks, Simon.